You're watching E.T.N, where we don't do news, we just talk entertainment. Share and subscribe.
Hey guys, welcome to Entertainment Talk Nation. This is Rob. This video, we're going to do a review for the last episode, the season finale of The Flash, entitled Finish Line. And I'm also going to give my thoughts on how the overall season was. So many of you know I didn't do Flash episode by episode reviews this year, because earlier, for the majority of the season, I just didn't have the time to do it. It wasn't until recently that I have more time in my hands to be doing more videos. So hopefully that carries over into next season. And for those of you who are still here for some episode reviews, I will be covering Game of Thrones in July episode by episode. So the season finale was really good. And, you know, I think most people had a very strong idea that Harrison Wells, or rather HR, who is Harrison Wells, was going to make the sacrifice that he did in order to secure Iris's future. And it was a good sacrifice. You know, it was something that they played into it pretty well. And knowing that there's so many different HRs or Harrison Wells out there, obviously he was expendable. So that was a good way for them to keep Iris on the show. And Tom Cavanaugh's still going to be on the show. We kind of got that idea that next year, Earth 2, Harrison Wells will be with the Flash team. And, you know, I think the best part about this episode was really something that they really kind of took a long time to do, which was give us a little bit of a deeper look into Savitar, or Evil Barry, if you want to call him that. And that was pretty touching. You know, to see Barry really put aside his differences for someone who just not even moments prior tried to pretty much destroy his life and kill his fiance, goes to show you that what Leonard Snart told him a couple of episodes ago really stuck with him. And I thought it really played into the kind of person that Barry is, and I thought it was great. That portion of the episode was fantastic. And one of the things I love about Flash is, you know, you go back to the first season and you look at last season and now this season, you know, it has a crazy rotation of, you know, happy moments, cheesy moments, but cheesy goodness, as I like to call it, and really dark moments. You know, one of the darker moments I remember is when Zoom first encountered Barry and they clashed and he just beat the crap out of him, really broke him basically, physically as well. And this show's really gone full circle with that stuff, from good to bad, happy moments, sad moments, goofiness, super serious. And I think it's at its best when it's more lighthearted. You know, we get the dark side from the Arrow show. So, but I do think that what the darker moments do is they make for a more emotional impact, in my opinion, versus Arrow. You know, Arrow to me had some pretty strong emotional moments in the first two seasons. But Flash consistently does it. And I think that was strong. You know, I think, even though you knew that Iris was okay, you felt very bad for HR and what happened, because he's been a great, fun character on the show this season. It really shows the range of Kavanaugh and his talent. And, so that portion of the show I think is good. Now, one other thing I want to say about the finale in regards to the end is, I thought it was very interesting, but it was an ending that was very fitting. When you consider how much Barry has meddled with time in the last two seasons, it was only a matter of time that it would catch up with him and he would have to pay his dues. You know, he would have to, atone for all the things he's done, because he's destroyed a lot of lives, you know, intentionally or not intentionally, he's just done it. And he has to learn to be more responsible with his powers. And now that he's accepted that fate, I think that what we'll see next season is, and I hope they do this, you know, as much as I love, Grant Gustin as the Flash and the impact he has on the show, I really would like to see him gone for at least 4 to 6 episodes. A nice arc on how they're going to get him out of the Speed Force without doing it at the expense of the city or even the planet. The other thing that does is it gives a good opportunity for Wally to kind of get a little bit more fleshed out, because the thing about Wally is that after they got him out of the Speed Force, he kind of felt, I mean, we hardly saw him. You know, he had that one fight with Savitar and got his, you know, his, I don't want to say his broken leg, but, you know, obviously Savitar kicked him in the leg and hurt him really bad. And then all the other episodes, he was just kind of in the background. And, I think this is a good opportunity, and maybe that's something they're going to do for them to kind of show what Wally's all about. And, you know, at least let him hold down, Central City for the time being until they figure out how to get Barry out of the Speed Force. So I think there's a good opportunity there, and I hope they leverage that, because I would definitely like to see Wally get a little bit back to the forefront. You know, he was in the forefront for the early part of the season, and then now he's kind of fallen back, you know. The ending sequence with Wally, Barry, and and Jay chasing down Savitar was great. That was a great scene. And I like what they did with Killer Frost. It looks like Killer Frost is going to be one of those characters that's like anti-hero. Like she's gonna give the Flash team a hard time, but when push comes to shove and they need her, I think the Caitlyn in her will come out and she'll provide the help they need. But other than that, I think she's gonna be going through a long period of time where she's gonna try and kind of figure out what it is she wants to do, or perhaps she wants to try and find a balance to her powers. Is there a way I can be Killer Frost without the killer portion and still be Caitlyn? Kind of like what we saw at the end of the episode where she had the white, she was almost like in a mid-transition, you know? She was Caitlyn, but she looked like Killer Frost without the frost eyes. So I think that's where she's going to be. I think that's a good thing. And she does have the cure, so she always has the option to come back if she ever wants to. The most important thing is that the actress is still on the show. I think she's wonderful. And, she's also showed a lot of range in what she can do. So I'm excited that she's coming back. I'm excited to see what dynamic she's going to represent, you know, in terms of what she brings to the show as a potential villain, as a potential hero, or as just Dr. Caitlyn, that basically goes in and helps when she can. So, a lot of good different opportunities for that character. So we'll see where that goes. In terms of the season, I thought it was a good season. I agree with some people that the Flashpoint storyline initially seemed short, but as we learned throughout the season, it really actually was the whole season. That was the premise for the season, was that Flashpoint created everything, including what happened on Arrow. Savitar, you know, he became more impactful at the very end. I think during the regular season, there was just too much dragging out who this person was. And I think that hurt the show more in the early going than it did. Obviously, the payoff, as far as the reveal, the payoff wasn't that big a deal. Most people predicted it was going to be Barry. I had predicted it was going to be Oliver Stone, Oliver Queen. That was just a bold prediction I wanted to make just in case the writers wanted to throw us a curveball. And, I knew in my heart of hearts that it was going to be Barry, but when I talked to people on the nation, I said, nah, it's going to be Oliver Queen. Watch. Which would have made it very interesting. That would have been a good twist. And, you know, maybe I'll tell you exactly what my reasoning was behind that if anyone's interested, but I was going to do a video about it. Then I said, nah, we know it's Barry. Don't even bother. But I did say that, hey, you know, watch it be Oliver Queen. So that wasn't a big surprise, but I think the big reveal was just how intimate in terms of his thoughts and his memories that this character was in relation to Barry, you know, knowing everything about him, having his memories, having his feelings, and seeing just how dark Barry has the potential to go, you know, when you talk about killing your own fiance. And it would have been a pretty cool send-off if they had actually helped him and he turned out to be something more. But, I don't think he trusted the idea of that. And I don't think he wanted to take his chances of them just kind of, you know, fooling him and taking, and him just being erased by the paradox. So overall, I thought the season was good. You know, it had some bumps. I think it had a little bit more bumps this season than it has in the prior two seasons. But I still think obviously the first season's the best one. I thought Zoom was probably the best villain. Savitar was a good emotional villain in terms of how he made you feel, the things he did. Whereas Zoom was a little bit more scary and a little bit more threatening on a different level. And it's nice to know that the writers said already that next year the villain is not going to be a speedster. So that's a good thing. I know that the Flash has a lot of speedster villains, but it'll be nice to take a little break from that for a while. You know, they got Killer Frost out there. You know, Leonard Snart will be in and out a lot, I'm sure. And we still got Gorilla Grodd out there. So there's a lot of potential villains out there that they could use that don't necessarily have to be a speedster. And hopefully we get to see that play out. Another thing I thought was interesting was, Caitlin also killing, well, not Black Flash per se. From what I was told, she killed Hunter, but the Black Flash thing, that entity will just take on another form or another speedster. Be interesting to see if he takes on Barry now. That'll be a twist. And maybe, Wally, that's something Wally has to deal with in the early part of the season next year for him to get free from the Speed Force. So we'll see what happens. But overall, it was a great finale, a very fitting finale. They need to do away with the cliffhangers, though. That's 3 years in a row they've done cliffhangers. So I think it'll be nice to have a finale next season that'll complete the season so we can start anew the following season. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. What are your thoughts on The Flash in terms of the finale as well as the overall season? I thought overall the season was solid. I don't think it was as good as Arrow. You know, I would like to see them go the route of developing a villain that doesn't need a twist. That'll also be a good thing. We need a season where we know who the villain is outright and build upon the villain and the conflict between the villain and Barry or Team Flash. Not everything has to be a twist. I like twists, but this one was fairly predictable. Last year's twist became fairly predictable. The only good one was Reverse Flash, and they were smart about that one because they revealed that not too far into the season. Not too late into the season. So I think next year would be nice if they just develop a villain right from the out jump. This is your villain. This is who this person is. No twists, no games, and we're going to find out how this plays out for everybody. So anyway, guys, that's it for this video. This is Rob signing off for E.T.N, where we don't do news. We just talk entertainment. Take it easy.
Thank you for watching E.T.N. You can follow E.T.N on Facebook, Twitch or Twitter, or join the Nation Facebook page. Don't forget to click that subscribe button on your way out.